Hello, I'm Denise Galoni. Welcome to today's episode of Empowering You. I am so excited with the new year coming to introduce you to my guest, Kirk Charles. Kirk is a Fit Beyond 40 contributor for a Men's Health magazine, a certified personal trainer, and America's only personal trainer of 30 plus years plant-based eating. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I am so excited to introduce you to my guest, Kirk Charles. Kirk is a Fit Beyond 40 contributor for a Men's Health magazine. He's a certified personal trainer and corporate speaker, and he is America's only personal trainer of 30 plus years plant-based eating. Kirk, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Denise. I appreciate being here with you.
I have so many questions, Kirk.
Go right
First
ahead.
of all, 30 plus years of plant-based eating. I'm not even sure if I know what that means. What does that mean?
That means back in 1989, I decided to become a vegan.
Okay.
And the word now is not necessarily vegan, but plant-based eating. That's
right.
People are more so into that. And it was a 3-year transition back then. I got into veganism when I was 25 years old, but prior to that, when I was 22, I stopped eating red meat. The next year, I stopped eating chicken. The next year, I stopped eating fish. And then in the third or fourth year, I stopped eating dairy. And there I was, January 1st, 1989, vegan. I had no intention of doing this, all right?
Right.
None at all, because no one really knew what the word meant. What's a vegetarian? What's a vegan? What's this? What's that? No one knew.
Right.
But I moved in that direction, and I just felt that I didn't need to eat meat. And I just wanted to see what would happen if the first year went all right. I'd go for another year. And it worked out. Here we are 30 years later. I feel better than ever.
Kirk, I mentioned you're a certified personal trainer. What's your background? What made you get into all of this personal training and eating healthy?
Oh, a lot of ups and downs. I was first, when I got out of college, I was in the technical field. I was a computer programmer. Then I got into finance for a while.
Wow.
And it sort of fell into personal training. The bottom line is I just went flat broke. I was in the finance business back in 2001.
Oh.
As I did like personal consulting,
right.
Finance. Then I jumped out of that into the mortgage business.
Yeah.
That business crashed in 2008. When that crashed, I crashed. So I pretty much lost everything. Got divorced, although now my ex-wife and I, we're like best buddies now. I got divorced, but basically lost everything except for my underwear. Okay, no one, I couldn't sell that on eBay. No one wanted it. So my ex-wife had 2 friends who suggested that I go into personal training.
Right.
It was not my idea. Kirk, you're such a motivator. You're you're this, you're that. Why don't you share all this stuff with people? And I never thought of it. So in 2010, I sort of wandered around for 2 years. But in 2010, I interviewed for a job as an 8th grade math teacher because I love math. And I interviewed, and they never called me back for a second interview. At the same exact time, I started working at the gym, and I had intended to do it part-time.
Right.
The best thing in the world that ever happened to me was they never called me back for that second interview after school. Otherwise, I would have been a school teacher. But now I'm doing what I love to do, what I have a passion for. So I get to share a lot of powerful information to get people in tip-top physical condition. And by getting in tip-top physical condition, also your mentality improves, it becomes stronger. So we can get through, we can weather the storm of COVID and all the other things that may happen to us over the course of time. So I'm tickled pink. I'm just happy to be here to do what I love to do where my strength lies also. So it's an unbelievable thing.
And you're so motivating. The first time I met you, and I think we met virtually, I don't think we met in person, but when we met virtually, I just knew I had to have you on the show because you're so empowering, so motivating. We're starting a new year here, so it's a perfect time for us to have this interview. What tips do you have? Someone that doesn't eat correctly and maybe can't really exercise that much. What tips do you have to get started? Because it's so hard to look ahead and say, oh my gosh, I have to lose so much weight, or I need to get into shape. How do I even start?
Take small steps. We
Okay.
need victories. We need small victories along the way so we can build momentum. The biggest problem that people have when they're changing their diet or changing their life in general is that we try to take on too much sometimes. And when you
Right.
take on too much, you raise the odds of failing at a high sooner, at a higher rate. But when you have those early victories, when you start small, then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you have momentum and you build and you build and you build. Then, if you come to a point where you fall off track, it's easier to get back on because you have built
Okay.
positive momentum. So, small steps. And I recommend one of the best books I've read in the last 5 years is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, all right.
Pick that book up because he
Yeah.
talks about building small habits, doing it the right way, a way where it can stick or last for the rest of your life. That book changed my life. And every 5 years, it seems like I read a great book that just
Hmm.
changes the whole direction.
Right.
The book
Right.
prior to that was In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. At that time, I was writing my book regarding plant-based eating, how to transition to plant-based eating. And it influenced me greatly. So those are the two books that have sort of transformed me, transformed my thinking. And now I can convey the message at a higher level. So you start small, build
Right.
those victories, get that momentum going. And this has to do with any project that you may be involved in. Get those victories in, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's what you said. You first cut out red meat. You didn't just flip that switch and cut everything out.
Now, when I did it, it was different because I had no intention of becoming a plant-based eater.
Right.
I was experimenting with myself to see how well I would do, and I did great. So I just kept going. But now, when I help clients, I have to sort of accelerate the process a little more. It can't take 4 years. Some people need intervention right now because then their health may be at risk. You may have high blood pressure,
Right.
heart disease, type 2 diabetes, you're way overweight. You need more immediate results. So I would say in 3 to 6 months, you can make some really, really serious progress. You can transform your life or be on the path of transformation,
Right.
right? But at least 3 months. And I don't advise anyone to just go from where you are right now and jump into veganism, plant-based. Take your
Right.
time with it. Do some studying. And what I tell my clients, especially those who want to lose weight immediately,
Hmm.
eat a lot of fresh produce because
Okay.
90, 75% of people want to lose weight,
Right.
especially for the new year. Eat a lot
Sure.
of fresh, a lot of fresh produce, a lot of salad, a lot of fruit. Give up the dairy and give up the bread and pasta. If you do
Mm-hmm.
those things, and the rest of your life can stay the same. Eat all the meat you want, all the other products that you're eating. But that's what I recommend for those who want to lose weight immediately going into the new year. And it won't be that taxing on you because you still have some of the things that you've been enjoying for your life, for the entirety of your life up to that point.
Right. Kirk,
But,
what are the health benefits of a plant-based diet?
well, inherently, I believe that plants are just safer for you. Zoonotic diseases, something like COVID, which supposedly came from bats, zoonotic diseases are all over the place.
Right.
We get a lot of bacteria and viruses from animals, but those same bacteria and viruses that attack plant fare don't attack the human body. So plants are just inherently safer. That's number one. Number two, there are some immediate benefits that you can get from plant-based eating, which is one of the presentations I do at the corporate level. If I start to talk to you about not getting cancer and not getting heart disease, you
Yeah.
might be able to put off because that's way in the future. But there are
Right.
some things that can happen within 3 to 5 days. Number one, your skin might clear up. I'm telling you this because I've had clients who said this to me. Your skin might clear up. If you have something like eczema or blemishes on
Sure.
your skin, it might get better. All of a sudden, you feel less bloated
Mm-hmm.
in the midsection. All
Yep.
of a sudden, your joints don't ache as much.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, if you have asthma or allergies, that can subside. I had one client who was 230 pounds. She was taking 3 allergy medications. Within about a month and a half, she lost about 12 pounds. And she said she could stop taking 2 of the medications. I'm like, wow,
That's
right? But we
incredible.
had a long way to go. So some things happen immediately. And once you get those, again, those immediate wins, those little small wins, they give you the impulse to keep going.
Right.
So there are so many things that's great about plant-based eating. You have more energy.
Yeah.
All right. For me, I think clearer. I don't have the brain fog. I just
Mm-hmm.
talked to a client. She said her husband just recently gave up dairy and gave up gluten. all of a sudden he can think at a higher level. So
Wow.
it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I want everyone to understand, you don't have to go 100% plant-based, because if I say something like that and you have to give up ice cream and meat
Yeah.
products and a whole lot of things that you're used to eating, a lot of people will be turned off. So I start out by saying you can start at 75% plant-based.
Okay, that's doable.
All right.
Right.
And the closer you move to 100%, the better you will probably do. But at least start at 75. That should be your foundation.
And with eating comes exercise. And I know we were talking before this interview. I've seen some of your Instagram posts and some of your videos, and Kirk, they are intense.
They're intense, but I like to have fun in the gym. And a
Mhm.
lot of the things that I might do in the gym, my clients don't always do. I'm working with an older population now. So the bottom line with exercise is you want to put yourself in a position where you don't get injured. Because if you get
Right,
injured,
right.
you can't do anything. But
Sure.
movement every day. And I'm starting a new challenge on January 1st through the 14th, the first of the year through Valentine's Day, because I want everyone to be in
Okay.
the best physical condition they can be in for that special that special person. Getting tongue
Right.
tied here. I'm getting choked up thinking
You
about
are.
it. But be in tip-top shape for that special person in your life. So it's like a 45-day challenge for folks. But
Okay. Will that be in your Facebook group or your Facebook or Instagram, or where will that be, people find out information about that?
Facebook and Instagram.
And
So,
Instagram.
yes, that's where I do most of my posting. And I'm working on my YouTube channel. I'll build that up also, but right now, Facebook and Instagram. But you got to get that exercise in every day, just a little bit of something. You don't have to pile a lot on. See, when you combine plant-based eating and
Right.
moderate exercise, you
Mhm.
don't have to be really aggressive about staying in the gym for hour after hour.
Okay. All
Just a
right.
little bit at a time, Denise, a little bit at a time.
Oh,
You can
okay, Kirk.
do
You're the expert.
that.
Now, how did you get started writing for a men's health magazine?
I got lucky. There is a friend who has a radio show on Sirius XM, and I did a lot of writing for her website. And we did a series based on a book that I'm working on called 31 Things I've Learned About Plant-Based Eating After 31 Years. That
Okay.
title will be shortened at some point.
That's
But
a working title.
it is. But I put together a lot of videos for that purpose, and I put them on her website. And then she introduced me to one of the editors at Men's Health. And I
Okay.
started writing for them this past June and love it, having a ball with that.
Okay. And we talked about that poster that's behind you. Can we take a look at that poster that you have there?
Certainly. This
And
is just a
tell us what that
blow up.
is.
This is a blow up of the article they did on me in Men's Health. So give you a little closer view.
Yes. Yes.
So
It's perfectly, yeah.
this was for the November issue. And who was on the cover? Everyone's heartthrob, Lenny Kravitz. No
Right.
one cares about me, but they love Lenny. So they were writing an article regarding being fit after 50. And
Right.
I'm 57 years old. I write the Fit After 40 column for the magazine. So they called me up and said, "Hey, Kurt, you want to participate with this?" I said, "Of course, why not?"
Oh my gosh. How amazing. What kind of experience was that like? The whole photo shoot and everything.
Well, the photo shoot was great because I had to hire a photographer. In
Hmm.
today's times of COVID,
Yeah.
things have changed a little bit. So I got my own photographer, and we went out to the park and just took shots for like 2 hours. And I've done a lot of photo shoots. I do some commercial acting,
Yeah.
and I'm on set like 2 or 3 times a month doing photo shoots and whatever else they need me to do. So it was a lot of fun. I love commercial acting. I love doing fitness modeling, all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
it was great. And I'm associated with, in my mind, the best men's magazine on the market. There's no doubt about it. So it's a dream come true for me to be associated with
That's amazing.
it.
Now you said you were 57 years old.
Yeah, getting up
Now,
there.
do you think that you're in the best health now than you were when you were in your 20s and 30s?
I will not say that because
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. 30 years ago, I was much stronger. I'll give you that.
Well, right.
Yeah, but you know what? I have friends who are half my age that I work out with, and they show me what I used to do. So I can never say that I'm in better shape now, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm very pleased with what I've done, And the bottom line is this: as time goes on, the body takes on more and more toxicity. And
Right.
that's part of the aging process. The more you take on, the faster you age. So again, another reason to engage more in plant-based eating and exercise is that you can burn a lot of that toxicity off or get it out of your system.
Okay.
So we want to manage ourselves as time goes on. In my mind, I have a vision of myself being no less than like Jack LaLanne was when he was in his 90s, because Jack
Oh,
was
yeah.
a hero.
Right.
So I have to be like Jack or better. I have to
Right.
manage that process. And Jack, I believe, when he was young, he said he was very sick and he had to change his diet, and he started exercising, and all of a sudden, well, he's a guru, obviously, or he was a
Sure.
guru. So that's my focus. How will I be as time goes on? Can I sustain where I'm at now? I'm doing my best, fighting as hard as I can to just sustain a level of excellence, which is what I help my clients to do also. Strive for excellence, strive for the top. And the bottom line is this: on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself? There's a
Hmm.
Denise 10, there's a Kirk 10. Your 10 might be different than mine.
Sure.
Instead
Right.
of comparing yourself to someone else, be a 10
Yeah.
on your own scale.
That's so amazing, because people do. We look at someone and think, oh, why can't I be that thin? Or why
Yeah.
can't I be that healthy? Or why can't I lift that much weight like that person does?
Mm-hmm. But do your thing, because the bottom line is, are you happy with your life? Not everyone is happy going to the gym and working out. Some people are happy staying at home, drinking wine, and smoking cigars. That's not my life. But
Hmm.
for some people, it is. But if you're happy doing that, go ahead and do it, because your mentality is more important than anything else. Your mental health is more important than physical health, as far as I'm concerned. You have to be pleased with what you're doing, the career you're engaged in, or your family life. All of
Right.
that is important. It's, for me, it's more important, or as important, to be in good physical condition, because that's what I do. That's who I am. But
Sure.
someone else may be different. So you may not be able to work out 3 or 4 hours a day. You might only be able to work out 5 minutes a day. I don't know what it is, but you have
Right.
to find what works for you as an individual. That's all it is.
So, Kirk, you wrote a book. You said you're working on your second book. Is that what you said?
Working on my third book now.
Third book. Okay. So you have two books out. Work on your third book. You write for the magazine. You do commercials. You do
Yes.
these videos.
Yes.
What's next for Kirk Charles?
Oh, wow. Just to continue on an upward trajectory. I like the way things are right now. My lifestyle is great. And just to continue to do more and inspire people at the highest level. I've always felt, I don't know if there is a meaning for life. I have not figured it out yet, if there is one, but I do know that we do better when we inspire each other. So
Right.
being on TV programs like this, I mean, I don't know who's going to listen. It could be a million people listening,
Right.
whatever it is
Right.
that I'm saying. I want to make sure that I give them the best information possible so they can take off and they can be happy too. Because there's a lot of stress and strife in this world. When you look at politics and all the other things that are going on, a lot of things out there, there are a lot of factors or forces that may divide us, but
Right.
we can come together. I mean, again, we do better when we inspire each other. So I want to continue to
Absolutely.
inspire people. Yeah. Who said the more people you help get what they want, the more you get that
Right.
you want.
Absolutely. I believe that too. I believe that. And as you said, you don't know who will watch the show. And maybe it's that person that you inspire to say, okay, I can maybe work out or do something for 5 minutes, activity for 5 minutes. Maybe tomorrow I can do 10 minutes and get them moving, get them going.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a client, she's 70 years old. We just started training like 3 or 4 months ago. When we first started, she could only do maybe 10 to 15 abdominal crunches. Now
Hmm.
she knocks out 100 like that.
Wow. Now that's impressive.
She is so pleased about it. I mean, she jumps up off the floor. Wow, I did 100. I'm like, yeah, well, I told you you can do it. You just have to approach it the right way. We take it
Right.
slow and we progress. She's doing all types of things. I want her to be in sound enough condition so she can play with her grandkids all day long and not get tired. That's my goal for her. And a part of that is being able to get up and down off the floor. Some people find it
Right.
very difficult to go into a kneeling position and stand back up.
Oh, yeah.
Functional. It's not always about looking like a superstar and being in
Right.
that thing. It's more about functionality for most people.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for people that may be watching?
You have to put yourself in a position to win.
Oh, wow. I love that, Kirk.
Yeah, you got to be in that position. So maybe you need coaching.
Mhm.
Maybe you need to change things a little bit. Maybe you need to read a different book, but you have to put your mind and your vision from a certain vantage point. And if you're not experiencing success now the way that you want it, it's probably because, or it could be because you're looking at your life from the wrong vantage point. If you just
Mm.
change it a little bit by a few degrees, if you just move to the left 3 or 4 steps and you can see it a little differently, maybe that is your winning position. So don't be afraid to make changes. Don't fear the transformation process. Part of that process is understanding where you are. You have to take a snapshot of where you are and look at yourself objectively. You may need friends to help you with this. Ask
Mhm.
your friends, what do they see in you? Like,
Right.
again, for me, I got into personal training because 2 other people suggested it independently. They thought, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I'd be like a singer, like Frank Sinatra on the stage, just singing and serenading people. But I don't have that
Can you,
talent.
can you,
But
oh,
they
yeah, I was gonna
thought,
say, can you sing?
no, I don't sing.
Okay.
Not at all. You don't want that.
Okay. No, no.
Your show would be canceled immediately if I started singing. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're running out of time. We don't have time for you to sing today, Kirk. Maybe another interview.
But you can't fear the transformation process.
Right.
And many of us understand the need for change, the concept of it, but we really don't want to change. Do you really want it? And I think most people do. They just have to be able to see their lives from a different vantage point. And I'll say one thing regarding this coming year.
Sure.
Regarding plant-based eating, keep a food journal. Keep a
Oh,
food and exercise journal. If you do that, I'm telling you, it'll make all the difference. Every day I write down everything that I eat, and I write down the time that I eat or drink. I write down everything except for the water that I drink.
right.
So this morning I had a banana and 4 clementines. Then I had a salad. Then I had another banana. I'm going to have some steamed vegetables and rice as soon as we get off, as soon as we're done today. So I write all that down, and you keep that journal and also write down when you're exercising and what you do. Now, if you want things to change for you,
Mm-hmm.
you look back over what has transpired or what you wrote down over the last month or so, and you make changes to what you see there. That's
Okay.
the snapshot. You have to be able to see yourself clearly.
Right.
Impossible to do because, you're looking at yourself. You're too close to yourself. That's why people need trainers and coaches, someone who can look objective.
Sure.
But for those folks who do not have a trainer or a coach, you have to be as objective and as clear as possible. And the way to do that is through journaling. It's pretty simple. So do that. I'm telling you, it will help your transformation process. It will put you on that upward trajectory.
You gave such great tips and great advice. I know we're all going to be much healthier in 2021. It's a whole new year coming up here.
Yes, it is.
Endless possibilities. And thank you so much, Kirk, for doing this interview.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And to all of your listeners, they're listening to the right, or viewers, they're viewing the right person. Denise, you are the
Oh,
one. And, again, find someone to inspire, because that'll just take you up a couple of notches, a little bit every day. And
okay.
people need help. I need help. You need help. We all need help.
Right.
But there's too much stress and strife in this world, especially in 2020 with COVID and everything else that's going on.
Absolutely.
But 2021 could possibly be the best year of your life. We don't know.
Best year. That's what I'm going for. Best year of my life coming up. Right.
It's
Well,
gonna
we'll see you on
be a lot
Facebook. We'll see you on Instagram. We'll see you in Men's Health Magazine, and we'll just see you everywhere. And what was the name of your book one more time?
The first style. Let me show you.
Yes.
Here we go. Can you see that? The first
Yes,
style.
the first aisle. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the bottom line is the first style is where all the fresh produce is. That's why it's called the first style. As soon as you walk into the supermarket, and most supermarkets around the country,
Yep.
as soon as you walk in, bang, you walk right into fresh produce.
Right in produce.
Yes, that's what's going to give you all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that you need to be vibrant. That's where it's at. Not the rest of the supermarket. That first style is where all the magic is.
Okay. I will definitely keep that in mind. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too. And let's look forward to a great 2021. It's coming.
Absolutely. Continued success, Kirk. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Empowering You. I'd like to thank my guest, Kirk Charles. Kirk gave amazing advice and tips for you to live your best life and start with the new year coming up. Kirk talked about how he changed his whole life 30 years ago with a plant-based diet. I hope he inspired and empowered you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.